So sorry, everybody. I just realized I was on mute. Probably a good thing to make sure that everybody gets in here before we get started. So I just want to welcome everybody to Tech Tuesday with Out of the Box Technology and today's webinar on what's new in QuickBooks Online. We're so happy to have you here today for our webinar presented by Out of the Box Technology in conjunction with Leah Hartman of Intuit. Leah is Principal Professional Services Consultant at Intuit, and she specializes in QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Online Accountant, and QuickBooks Online Payroll. She has spoken at a number of Out of the Boxes webinars, and she's always a favorite. Her expertise is unrivaled. So we really encourage you to engage her with any questions you might have. We're going to leave the chat box open for you guys. So as we go through, just feel free to ask your questions as they come up. As for me, my name is Jeanette Schwartz-Rattan. I'm Director of Marketing here at Out of the Box Technology, and I'll be your moderator. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. Number one, this session is being recorded, so don't give yourself carpal tunnel or anything trying to take all of the notes. The recording will be shared as a resource with you after the webinar via email, and you can revisit any key points and information you'd like to review, share it with your colleagues, and really dive in together in real time. There will be time for questions, as I said, so as we go through the presentation, if you're hoping to dig a little bit deeper into something that Leah says or need some clarification on anything, feel free to chat those out to us and we can address those as we move through the presentation and on to other topics. We've also reserved a few minutes at the end to field questions as well. A little bit about Out of the Box Technology if you haven't joined us before, or maybe it's been a while. Here at Out of the Box Technology, we are anything and everything QuickBooks. Our growing team of over 50 QuickBooks certified consultants and service providers is your one-stop shop for QuickBooks needs. From data services like migration projects to cloud hosting, bookkeeping, recurring accounting services, and other business services, our team is on hand for you. As an elite QuickBooks solution provider, we are able to offer you exclusive discounts and pricing. So please be sure to connect with us before purchasing a QuickBooks online account. With that, I believe I've covered all of our housekeeping items. So I am going to hand things off to Leah. Leah, it's all yours.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're good.
Awesome. Just waiting for the button so I can share my screen. Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are having a great day today. Just as another friendly reminder, my name is Leah Hartman. I am a professional services consultant here at Intuit. Been with the company for almost 12 years. Feels like forever ago that I just started as a young buck here at the company. So been in sales for the last 6 or 7, and I started working with accountants back in 2014. So super excited to be here with you guys today, and thank you for giving me this hour of time to talk to you. We do have quite a bit of content to cover today. Here's the good news. Like Jeanette said, it is recorded, and I will make sure that Out of the Box has access to this deck afterwards so that you guys can refer to it at a later time if needed as well. So don't worry, I'll make sure you guys get those resources because there's some links and stuff in some of these PowerPoints so that you can refer to like the article that it's related to and all that good stuff. So, and of course, the ladies on the back end, if I miss a question or don't see anything, please feel free to call it out. I do not mind that at all. For the agenda, we're going to cover some what's new stuff today. So most of this content will be mostly what's new within the product, some highlights that I want to share with you. I'll be diving into the product as well. So we will be doing some in-product demonstration. We're going to go into advanced reporting in QuickBooks Online Advanced. So we're going to cover the spreadsheet sync tool. We're going to cover custom report builder, as well as our management reports inside the product, and then end in workflows and some tips and tricks. So with that, we are going to get started. We've got a lot to cover, and I want to make sure I leave the end for some Q&A as well. But I sectioned these out into chunks. So I chunk it out by feature and then of course audience. And so the first audience that I like to talk about is what is important for the accountant. And so the biggest thing that I want to talk a little bit about is our books review tool. And if anybody has used this before, would love to get your feedback on it. Love it, hate it, it's meh. But essentially, I talk to accountants all the time. I get a mixed bag of if people have heard about this tool or not. It is still fairly new. I've got some updates in there that I want to show you guys. But at the end of the day, this really does allow for folks to kind of have like a step-by-step guide on how they could potentially clean up their clients' files directly through the accountant toolbox. So this is only available for the accountant users. You can only access this if you get your clients through the QuickBooks Online Accountant dashboard, or access them, I should say, through the QuickBooks Online Accountant dashboard. And so you'll be able to utilize this for every single one of your clients. So rather than staring at a screenshot, I'm actually going to jump into the product right off the gate here. I'm going to access just a regular client's file. I've already logged into QBOA, so I'm just going to jump into a client's file here really quickly. Books review can be found in the left-hand navigation bar. It should be towards the top for you since it's accountant only. If your client logs in, they're not going to see this option. So once we have this done loading, you can do it, buddy. We're gonna click on books review here in the left-hand navigation. I'm not gonna necessarily go through every single little tab that's up at the top, but I just wanna give you guys kind of like a quick overview and what's new in here. So with the books review, when it first came out, it was more designed to allow you to do like a month-end bookkeeping. So at the end of every month, you walk through these steps, you complete it, you call it done, you wrap up, you send stuff to your client. But we also know that accountants don't necessarily need to do that on a monthly basis. So we've now offered a second option, which is called cleanup. So a lot of folks will use this as a tool. Let's say they're an existing QBO user that has just started working with out of the box. And so the cleanup option will give you the ability to kind of do like a big one-time cleanup, or if you would prefer to do it like every 6 months instead of monthly. So there's those two different options. I prefer the cleanup option. I think it's the most practical, especially when it comes to folks that are of larger scale, if that makes sense. So you've got your little sections up here at the top. The setup, I think it's extremely important to at least note with the setup section, there's a lot of information on here that gives you kind of an idea of what's going on in your client's file. So what's the subscription level? Are they using payroll? Is sales tax enabled? I hope you don't have a client that has 16 apps integrated with their file, but this is a test company. We do a lot of funny things in here, but it'll tell you if there's any integrations, gives you that information and that insight of what's going on. Scrolling down, if you want to do some opening balance adjustments on the fly, you can do that as well. Some potential account issues, if there's anything, a disconnected bank feed, give you kind of that error here for you to review as well. Some accounts without activity, 90 plus days. And then there's additional items at the end of each section that will allow for you to create your own, or you can use the ones that we've pre-created for you. So make sure your chart of accounts has industry specific accounts, and it'll take me directly to my COA. But the biggest piece of this that I want to show you guys is the transaction review, which I think is the biggest benefit to using this, and we're continuing to expand on it. So this is not the end all be all on books review, but this is the only place that I have found, if you have a client who's using bank feeds, or if you have a client that's utilizing QuickBooks and they're not adding payees, the only way you can batch add payees to transactions that already exist within the file is directly through here. So we know, right, in a perfect world, best practices, if you have a bank feed set up and you have rules, add the payee through the rules. But if you're not doing it when you first start, then there's a bunch of transactions out there that exist that don't have those payees already added, and it is a pain in the butt to go through every single one individually and add those. Or I've had some folks undo the transaction if it came from the bank feed, add the payee, and then re-add it. Makes it super cumbersome and really annoying. So we've allowed for the accountants to be able to batch add. It's pretty simple. Just simply check the boxes here for the types of expense or transaction that we're looking for, and then you can either click add payee, or you could utilize our ask client button feature. So this is like a collaboration type of piece where you can actually collaborate with your client if you need to ask them more questions. You can do this on a lot of the transaction types throughout the transaction review. Makes it pretty cool. Ask your client and it'll create what's called a task. Oh no, it didn't work. Yikes. Let's try that again. See what happens. There we go. I was just kidding. Questions about payees. I need to know who paid in these transactions. Please be specific as you can. You'll see their checklist below. Who gets sent this, Leah? Like who? If I click the share button, who's going to get it? The primary administrator of the file will get it. So if you, the accountant, are the primary admin, this might not apply, but that is okay. Just as a heads up. So it's a cool little tool. You can communicate with your client back and forth between this as well. So batch add payees, only way you can do it in QBO is directly through the books review tab. Scroll down, there's some other stuff to review as well that I think is really important. Undeposited funds, unapplied payments. I've had this several times before too, where you'll have an invoice and a payment, but they're not applied to each other. So that looks like they're kind of out there in outer space and they're not tied to anything. You can review and fix those directly from here. So as far as the rest of the tabs go, right, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can go through your account reconciliation all in one place, the final review, reviewing reports, and then if you want to wrap up and send your client content, right, or anything like that, you can set up a management report to email them if needed, give them an idea of what happened, what you did, all that good stuff. Again, not required, it's just there. So that's the books review. I'll pause there and just make sure, are there any questions that I need to address before I move on?
I think we're good so far.
Awesome. And if my goal for today, guys, is at least every single one of you have learned at least one new thing today. If you learned at least one new thing, then I'm happy. But if you already know about this tool, it's just a refresher, and hopefully you found something new that you haven't used before. Next up, we have our redesigned ProAdvisor training portal. So this is pretty new. I'd probably say within the last calendar year, we have created a personalized training path for the ProAdvisor training portal. So when you log into QuickBooks Online Accountant and you go to the ProAdvisor section in the left-hand navigation bar, there is now a customized training path that you can follow. As you can see on the slide deck, there is a Learn More button. So make sure I get this to you guys at the end of the session. There is like additional information if you need help on how to do it, but it's pretty cool. If I go back to my QuickBooks Online Accountant dashboard, we got to go back, we got to get out of our client file. And if you go to the ProAdvisor tab, you can go to the benefit section and you can follow through the, there. So this is going to be for folks that are ProAdvisors. If I click on benefits, and then we go to that training section here, as long as you have your QuickBooks Online Accountant dashboard set up, then you'll be able to follow the personalized path that is available for you to select all the options that you'd like to learn from. So again, must be a ProAdvisor in order to do this part. I just want to make sure that we are customer facing. I want to make sure, is this ProAdvisor stuff we're talking about making sense, or do I need to move past this?
Leah, I think you can probably move past it. Most of the folks on the webinar are probably end users.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. I am going to keep on moving forward. So sorry about that, guys. We're going to move into QuickBooks Online related stuff. So we're going to talk about the QuickBooks Business Network, the Windows Mac desktop application, as well as QuickBooks Commerce. QuickBooks Business Network. So let's talk about it. It is something fairly new that has come out. So for folks that are curious, what is this? This is basically where QuickBooks Intuit has said, you know what, we have millions of customers using QuickBooks Online, and we would love for folks to be able to communicate with each other easily. For example, if I am a QuickBooks Online user as a small business, and my friend Maggie is a QuickBooks Online user, also a small business, and we use each other's services, I can actually create an invoice within the business network and make sure that her contact information is a part of the business network. And then the invoice will get automatically sent to her as a bill. So it kind of is like an intra network within QuickBooks Online between other businesses. And so when this first came out, we opted everybody into this process. So everybody's in. Now, what kind of information, Leah, is available for other people to see? Well, it's going to be like the company name, the company address. You'll notice here that the information like the email address and the phone number are truncated. We're not giving out your billing address or anything like that, but it is allowing for folks to kind of communicate with each other. And it's also going to be available to help automate your accounts payable, right? So again, if you're using, and if you're working in QuickBooks Online and you have vendors that are also using QuickBooks Online or customers, then you'll have the ability to kind of communicate with each other, and then invoices and bills will automatically be created directly through QuickBooks. Makes it really easy. Now, it is not a requirement. It is not a requirement for you to use. If you would like to opt out, here on this particular slide, there is a link to learn more on how to opt out if you're not interested. But as you can see in the screenshot, it does not provide any sensitive information, but it does allow for you to connect to other people. So just a little bit of how it works. We do currently have over 3.8 million members. That's because that's our QuickBooks Online community. And so searching for a contact and inviting them to connect. Once it is connected, you get their up-to-date contact information. So if I'm sending Maggie information and I have to update my company name, my contact name, my email address, anything like that, it's automatically updated on her end as well. She doesn't have to do anything. And like I said, this does power the accounts payable automation. Tens of thousands of businesses have already connected, and thousands of invoices are sent over the network and have become a bill for the other person. This makes it really cool, makes it really easy for folks to stay. And honestly, in the bigger picture, we're starting to reduce the amount of confusion, right? So if I'm using 10 different vendors, right, and they all have my same contact information, then they don't have to each individually go in and change my contact information if I have to change my phone number or what have you. So it tries to keep everything up to date all in one place for folks. So connecting within the network to enable this automation benefits. When you're connected to a vendor, you send an invoice. Just like I said, QuickBooks will automatically create the auto-filled bill. And then when the person that receives the bill logs into QBO, they'll get a notification, hey, you've received a bill from business XYZ. Would you like to review it? You'll be able to review it. And this is the review detail screen that you're going to see. And so this is going to reduce some manual data entry, save you some time. So then you'll have the ability to eventually schedule a payment with them electronically, send them a check, however you pay your vendors. We also have something new called the Windows Mac Desktop application. If you guys have seen it, and if you've been around for a while, way back in the day, we used to have a QuickBooks Online desktop application. You could install it on your Windows or Mac, and then we retired it. We came out with a new one. So this is this specific downloader or installer is available for a specific group of people, but I'm going to give you guys a secret. So give me 1 second. The app is available for QuickBooks Desktop migrators. So if you came from QuickBooks Desktop, if you are in Plus, or if you are in Advanced subscription, QuickBooks Online Advanced, you will have the ability to download this. Here's the good news. The downloader button should be in that Learn More that you have down here in the bottom left. Anybody can download it. So we say only certain people can download it, but honestly, everybody can download it. So I'd say if you're interested, you're looking for like a bridge to gap, you're looking for a bridge to kind of close the gap on the differences between desktop and online, I highly recommend checking this out. Some other things that you can do would be to keeps you logged in longer. I think the login time is 6 months on the desktop application. You can open multiple companies at once, which there are tips and tricks on how to do that outside of this. I'll show you guys later. Flip between tabs and windows. It looks a little bit more like desktop. You still need internet, things like that. So stay signed in so that they can get to work faster. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'd say check it out. Again, we say there's only certain people that can download it, anybody can download it. The new part about this is Mac. Windows has been out for a little bit of time, but the Mac option is now available as well. Before I move on to QuickBooks Commerce, is there any questions that I can answer so far?
We've had a couple of people. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Can you talk a little bit about the accountant version that you were earlier speaking about, and then the end user QBO version, and why some of those things such as accountant review or the accountant version screens, why those are not available in the regular version of QBO, and like what is the QBO accountant version really intended for? Could you just clarify that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm so sorry for any confusion I have caused with anybody. I guess I assumed something that I shouldn't have. So there is a difference. So if I am an accountant, I am going to have access to some additional tools to assist my clients to make their lives easier. And so we provide accountants additional tools and additional dashboard to be able to manage all of their clients in one place. If we're thinking about Intuit as a whole, we're trying to make everybody's lives easier. And so not only a small business or mid-size, right? Any business in general that uses QuickBooks Online, we're trying to make your lives easier by giving you all of this automation and time savings. But there are some things that we do that look at it from a perspective of, hey, you should probably be working with an accountant if you're going to try to do certain things. And so we allow for the accountants to have access to those tools so that you can communicate and collaborate with them. Oh, go ahead.
Could you just clarify? So a lot of the folks joining us are probably accountants. They're just in-house accountants for their business. So okay. Why would, could you just maybe talk about when you say accountant, what you're meaning versus an accountant inside of a business?
So anybody that's an accountant, a bookkeeper, an enrolled agent, if you are working as somebody who does bookkeeping type resources or needs, you absolutely can use QuickBooks Online Accountant. It is free to sign up. And this is the dashboard that you'll get access to. And if you're not using this currently, that's okay. You can sign up. But this would be available for, say, let's say it's an accounting firm that manages like external clients. They can access all their clients in one place. But ultimately, at the end of the day, anybody who does any of those sort of bookkeeping type things, enrolled agent, right, taxes at the end of the year, you could essentially use this tool. You have to sign up for it. It's not something that you just get. There is no cost to it. Did that help? I don't know if I answered the question.
Yes, that helped. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So again, my apologies for not clarifying. That was totally my fault. So as an end user, so the end user, so when I talk from an audience perspective, when I'm talking about the audience, the firm would be inside accountant, bookkeeper, enrolled agent, tax preparer, auditor, right? Those would be the people that I would be referring to when I say firm or accountant. And then when I'm talking about the end user or the business, I'm talking about the person that's actually using the QuickBooks Online file to run their business. So those would be the differences between the audience members and who I'm referring to and speaking to. So in this particular case, I am logged in as somebody who works for an accounting firm who has access to all of these clients that I have to work with and manage on a daily basis. And for you guys, it could just be the in-house stuff that you're doing with your business, and that's totally fine as well. All right, so keeping the boat sailing here, I want to talk a little bit about QuickBooks Commerce. So this is going to apply to all versions of QuickBooks Online subscription. So that's going to be the simple starts, the essentials, the pluses, and the advanced, right? So the actual QuickBooks Online SKU that runs the business. And so e-commerce, if you've been around for a bit, we've had several iterations of this, but I'm here to kind of give you guys more of a sweet zipped up version of what we're doing currently. So as of right now, we have started to integrate, QuickBooks Commerce, which allows for commerce-based businesses to connect their websites, their e-commerce sites to QuickBooks Online so that they can do, they can have all their transactions be added to QBO without it being a manual process. So think of it like a bank feed, but for your QuickBooks, but for your commerce website. With that being said, you'll see here at the top, there's only 3 folks that we are working with currently. And that's going to be, oh, I keep going back. That's my fault. Hang on one second, guys. I'm so sorry. Get back. Oh, now it's going to freeze on me. Hang on a sec. There we go. You'll see here at the top, we are only currently working with Amazon, Shopify, and eBay. So if you're not using any of those, probably not going to be necessarily a good fit right now because those are the only 3 that we're currently working with. We are absolutely adding more. This is just where we started. So if you have, if your business is running an Amazon account, a Shopify account, or an eBay account, you can connect to QuickBooks Online, and I'll show you guys like, well, what does that mean? What does it do? I'll get to that in just a second. All versions of QuickBooks Online can use this feature. The version of QBO that you are on determines how many commerce accounts you can connect to, right? So Simple Start, I believe you can only connect 1 of these. Essentials, I believe, is 3. It's 2 or 3. Plus is 5, and then Advanced would be unlimited. Obviously, there's only 3 currently, so it's not a super big deal at the moment, but there is a limitation based on the version. So with seeing trends at a glance, so there's kind of a dashboard that you'll get access to. So once you connect your Shopify, let's say, you're going to get a full view of your sales channel data at a glance. I just want to be cautious and let folks know this is not going to be inventory management or anything different outside of what QuickBooks Online can already offer, right? So this is literally just kind of importing sales information, detailed sales information for you. So top 3 graphs will show the revenue by channel, orders by channel, and top selling products by channel. So it's giving you kind of those reporting insights, those trends. You'll be able to kind of see what's being sold, what's popular. And then it also provides a central hub to manage that sales channel connection, shortcuts, view all the transactions that are coming in, right? The sales, right? And all that good stuff. We're not going to watch the little video, but once you guys have access to the slides, you'll be able to review it and make it bigger because it's so tiny. You'll be able to access view payouts. So payouts are imported from these 3 companies. We break down each payout to show the individual sales, the refunds, the fees, or the adjustments for each payout. Why is that helpful? Because whenever folks are working with merchant services or credit cards, a lot of the times you get chunks of money and there's no one has any idea of like, well, who paid what and when did this transaction get put into a batch and all that. So these payouts will come individualized breakdowns so that you'll see Bob Smith purchased this from Amazon. These are the fees, or Bob Smith has sent a return and I have to refund. This is the money that I've given back. So you'll be able to see those breakdowns. Then the payouts are brought into the register, right, to account for those sales, aggregates the sales receipts, the refunds, receipts, deposits to the clearing account, all that good stuff. So it's automating the accounting side of the business when you're utilizing one of those 3 sales channels. The bank feed will have a matching deposit to the deposit sent from the channel. So let's look at it from this way. If you have Shopify connected to QuickBooks Online and you have your bank feed connected to QuickBooks Online, if you receive a $100 deposit from Shopify and then it gets downloaded to your bank, those 2 will match together or marry together inside QuickBooks automatically so that you are not duplicating your income. So it all works out in that sense of matching and making sure that there's no duplications, but you're still going to get the detailed information from the Shopify connection of the individual breakdown, what consisted of that $100 deposit, if that makes sense. Any questions on QB Commerce? Perfect. A lot of the times folks ask me like, well, what does commerce do essentially, right? And honestly, at this moment in time, it's just bringing in sales information, detailed sales information from websites. There's no like manufacturing, there's no distribution inventory. Like there's a lot of things that like it doesn't do at the moment, but currently it's just bringing in sales, detailed sales. So more to come on that once we build it out. So I'm going to move into QuickBooks Online Advanced updates. These are going to be specific to the highest version of QuickBooks Online, which is the advanced version. So again, we're going to be talking about the end user's version. So the business that's running and needs QuickBooks Online Advanced. So some things that we've added, estimates versus actuals, as well as revenue recognition. So estimates versus actuals has been a big request asked by a lot of folks across the country of, hey, we know that you guys do some basic job costing, but we need an estimates versus actuals report. So totally fair, we respect that. We have now added it. Here's the kicker. This report is only available in advance. What does that mean? Yes, Plus does support job costing, but it isn't. This estimates versus actual is not available in Plus. You have to upgrade to advanced if you want your estimates versus actual reporting. So you'll be able to do that. You have to create an estimate to make this work. So there's a specific kind of like step-by-step process that I'm going to show you guys really quick. So let's assume job costing is already turned on, a project has already been created, and now we're going to do a cost estimate. So we're in the job costing screen, and if you go to the Add to Project button in the upper right-hand corner, there's a cost estimate option. Please know that in the upper left-hand corner, that plus sign, that new, you can also create an estimate from there as well. It doesn't matter which way you do it. Once you get to the project estimate screen here, you're going to fill it out as normal. There is nothing like super special around this. You fill out your estimate as normal. You'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, there's estimated profit margin, estimated costs, and estimated income now. You'll see that in the upper right once you start to fill this information out, and then you save it. Once you've filled out the information, you'll see that the estimated profit margin will show the estimated costs. If you look down in the actual line item here, hopefully you guys can see my mouse, but the service date, the service item, markup is not necessary. You don't have to utilize the markup option, but it is available if you guys would like. Ultimately, you just need the rate here, your cost versus the customer price, right? So you just need those, your cost versus the customer, and then you'll start to get this build out of the estimated profit. Once you have saved it, the estimate itself has to be in there are two options. It has to either be I might as well just go in and show you. What am I doing? We're gonna go into an advanced file here and I'll just show you guys. It makes more sense to do it live. If I were to go to, let's see, we've got my projects here, just to kind of tie a bow around this, right? If I go to projects here in the left-hand navigation bar, this is being mean to me. Okay. Sometimes my test files do weird things and then I'm like, I'm in a demo, this is making me look bad. Okay, so we're gonna click on this Evans new project. So let's just say we're gonna create one here. You'll see here, you've got your estimates versus actuals little tile, I could call it, up at the top here, your profit margin, right? Pretty self-explanatory. If I go to add to project and I do a project estimate, this is where we kind of left off with the screenshots, right? So we have our project. You can list down your product and service down here at the bottom. So let's just say I'm going to charge them an admin fee. So my cost is $10. I'm going to charge them $25. you'll start to see here the estimated profit margin, and then you'll hit save and close, save and send. If you're looking to have the customer approve it, you're going to send it to them via email. Otherwise, you're going to just hit save or save and close. Now, in order for the report to work, the estimate has to be in one of two statuses. So it starts off in pending, but it must be accepted or closed in order for the estimate to show up on the report. So it has to be either accepted or closed. What does that mean? Accepted is a manual acceptance of the business. Say you send the estimate through the mail, or you talk to the customer over the phone and they approve it, or they're signing it physically. You'll have to mark it as accepted and save. Or if you email it to them and they approve it online, it just automatically goes as closed. If it's still in pending or rejected, you're not going to see it. So make sure it's marked as accepted or closed. If you create an invoice from this, it'll also mark it as closed. So just keep that in mind when doing that. So let's just say really quickly, like, okay, I'm going to create an invoice for this. Progress invoicing is available in QBO as well, but we're just going to do the total estimate, create that invoice, and then we're going to save this bad boy. There's some other estimates in here. If I want to add those to the invoice, I can. I'm just going to, for the sake of the example, I'm just going to save this guy, and now I have my invoice. So once that's happened, I'll now be able to run that report. Let's save this bad boy. And then let's just close out of this really quickly. And then under the project itself, if you go to project reports, estimates versus actuals is down here at the bottom, you'll be able to review. So you'll be able to see the actual costs versus the estimated income versus the actual income, and what that difference is, dollar versus percentage. So it's pretty basic, I would say. It's nothing super crazy, but it is available if that's something that you would find useful. Only available in advanced. Any questions on that guy? I'm just going through some screenshots here of what we've already done. If you guys have been in QBO for a while, you know there's several different ways to create an invoice, create an estimate, right? So it really just depends on how you're doing your workflow. You might not be on the estimate itself to create the invoice at that exact moment. You can always create an invoice when you go to the plus sign right in the upper left. You can see your report from here. Here's the actual report itself. Okay, moving on. I want to talk a little bit about revenue recognition. So this is also a new feature available only in advanced. This will automatically recognize revenue when it's earned, not when the payment is received or when the sale happens. So when it's earned. You have to enable revenue recognition on your service item. And so you go to your products and services list in QuickBooks Online, and you'll go to create a service item or edit it. And there will be an option in there for I recognize revenue for this product monthly. Now, before you ask, it is only available for monthly revenue recognition at this time. Only monthly. I can't do anything different at this time, just monthly. So I recognize revenue for this product, set the liability account, the service interval, and the service duration. You're going to select revenue recognition item on an invoice. So you set a service date. You're going to put that revenue recognition item on your invoice, save the invoice, and then you'll see the revenue recognition schedule when you're looking at the item. So just to show you guys here really quick, I'm going to go to my products and services tab, so transactions. Nope, that's the wrong one. Sorry, sales. Get it wrong all the time. Sales, products and services. So once we are here, this is where you can look at either editing an existing service item or creating a new one. So if I edit accounting consulting here, I'm going to scroll down. I recognize revenue for this monthly, right? And then we save and close. Service duration, say it's 30. So now, what was that called again? Accounting consulting, okay. So now when I go to create an invoice, open sesame. Let's just say I've got my customer here, and I'm going to go to my products or service and do accounting consulting. Doop. And save and close. Well, no, let's just save it because I want to stay on this screen here. Enter a service. Oh, duh. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second, guys. There we go. Save. Awesome. So once you've saved the invoice, you'll notice now there's an option for review recognition. You'll be able to access that. I believe this is also a report you can pull outside of the invoice. I would have to double check on that one, but you'll be able to see the recognition here. You can also change if you have multiple accounting multiple products or services. So it is a new feature. It is pretty basic, nothing super fancy. We always recommend that you give us feedback on things that are new. So there's a give feedback button here in the upper right-hand corner. Just let us know. Any questions on that guy? This is what the revenue recognition report looks like outside of the invoice. Again, it is a report that you can pull. You can use your search bar in the upper right-hand corner of QBO. You can go to the report section to run it. You can export it to Excel. You can also view it as a graphical mode if you want, like a chart. You can view recognized versus unrecognized. And then, of course, you can customize like the view and the groupings of how you would like to see it. So I want to make sure that we have time for our tips and tricks at the end, as well as some of the other advanced stuff. So I'm going to keep on rolling. Some stuff around QuickBooks Payments. So QuickBooks Payments is also a part of our online ecosystem. So if you are a business that likes to take credit card, likes to take ACH, right, bank-to-bank transactions, then this is the section maybe for you. But some of the things that we have invested and added more recently is tipping. So if you are a business that has a tips service, then you can add this to the invoice when you are sending an invoice to a customer or charging them on their credit card. There's some automatic options to choose from, 5, 10, 15%. There's an other option or a none option. You can turn it on and off. If you don't want it or you do want it, it is available. So there is an option or a link, I should say, to learn more if you guys want to learn more on that. This part I find really cool. So if I'm a customer and I receive an invoice from my landscaping company, right? They come to my house once a month and they do my landscaping because it's hot and I'm lazy here in Arizona. So I have someone else do it for me. When they send me an invoice and I go to look at it and review it online, QuickBooks Online Payments now has an option for the customer to choose the option to pay with Venmo or PayPal now. That does not mean the business needs a PayPal or Venmo account. That just means that the customer is now using a PayPal or Venmo account to send you money, and there's no additional setup needed, right? There's nothing else. It tells you what the charge is going to be, which I think is the same as a credit card. So it's not like it's more, but it does give customers another option to pay. To be honest, I use PayPal for a lot of stuff when I'm paying for things online, so it just makes it easier for folks. So options for customers to pay would be credit card. So Apple Pay, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, ACH, bank to bank, or now PayPal or Venmo. So makes it really easy. We've also offered, or recently have offered, for those that do have QuickBooks Payments accounts, and anybody obviously that signs up that is new, we also have a payments dispute protection that you can sign up for if you're interested. If you are worried about chargebacks, there is an option for you to sign up for this protection plan. It is going to be based on, I believe this is going to be based on the amount of transactions that you process under QuickBooks Payments. Additional percentage fee on all future card payments. Yeah, so it is a pay per transaction fee. If you're interested in learning more about the dispute protection plan, please feel free to click on the learn more option here. But this is for folks that really want to make sure that they are secured. If they have a bunch of chargeback problems or fraud, we will cover you, right, under the guise of the protection. So that is something that is a new offer out there for those that use QuickBooks Payments. I think this is the last one. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about QuickBooks Checking. QuickBooks Checking is it's exactly that. It's a checking account that comes with a QuickBooks Payments account. So some things that are available for QuickBooks Checking. It's free. There are no monthly fees. You can access what we call instant deposit. So if you're using QuickBooks Payments, one of the benefits to having QuickBooks Checking is you get instant deposit without the additional fee if eligible. Not every transaction is always eligible. We also allow for this thing called envelopes. It's a system where you can take money from the checking account, put them in a specific envelope, and the money doesn't get used. It just stays in that envelope until you're ready to pay for whatever it is you're using. So payroll expenses would be a good one. I can save that money, put it to the side, and it doesn't accidentally get spent unless I take it out of the envelope and then I use it. 1.75% APY, which I've heard is probably one of the highest APYs out there. Deposit checks right from your mobile app. So very similar to a Chase, a Wells Fargo, Bank of America, you can deposit checks right from your app. We have cash flow projections and insights available for you. Seamlessly integrates with our products. Again, ACH transfers for no additional fee. We are available to withdraw funds over 19,000 all-point ATMs and all kinds of good stuff. So not necessarily new. The newest thing that we've added was the deposit checks right from your mobile app, but it is available. It is something that if you guys are interested in checking out, I did also add a learn more button on this particular slide. So it does come with QuickBooks Payments if you've signed up for it recently. So perfect. So there's a couple things that I want to talk about in QuickBooks Online Advanced before I move into some of my tips and tricks. And I know we're running towards the end. I just want to double check before I jump into the product. Did we have any questions that I need to address currently?
There is a question about Melio. Are Melio and Intuit not going to be working together any longer? And if so, is there another option to pay bills through QBO?
Yeah, great question. So some of you may gotten a notice. If you're using the bill pay inside QuickBooks Online, so it's a service where you can pay bills electronically through QBO, we are no longer partnering with Melio to pay bills. That does not mean Melio is going away. That just means that QuickBooks Online wants to implement their own QuickBooks bill pay. So we're no longer using a third-party app to do it. It is kind of in beta testing right now, so please have no fear. We're not going to be like leaving you guys out on an island. We're going to be discontinuing Melio, but you'll have the option to sign up for QuickBooks version of bill pay pretty seamlessly. So I don't remember what the end date was for Melio, but Melio is not going away. You can still use Melio. You just won't be able to click pay now directly through the product. QuickBooks Intuit wants to use their own bill pay service. So more to come on that as it continues to roll out, but that's essentially what's happened. I still like Melio, so hopefully it's seamless, not a big deal, right? I know a lot of people use it, so I'm hoping that it'll be a smooth transition for folks. All right. So instead of showing you guys slides, I'm actually going to jump into the product here. So one of the things that I want to talk a little bit about with QuickBooks Online Advanced is all of the custom reporting that's available for you. So I'm still in an advanced file, and we have a lot of options to choose from when it comes to reporting that is way different from what QuickBooks Online Plus can offer. And so if we go to the report section here down in the left-hand navigation bar, the first thing I want to show you guys is the custom report builder. This is only available in advanced. I know I keep saying that. I'm going to beat that one with a, like a, I'm going to continue to say it. Create a new report here. Or you can start off with like a preset report. Personally, if I'm going to start from scratch, I'm going to like legit start from scratch. So we have some report types available for you to choose from here, but honestly, click the blank option. You'll thank me later. When you click the blank option, you'll get two options: start by report creation wizard or start by simply adding data columns. The report creation wizard can be pretty cool if you're looking for something specific. So like if I'm looking for invoice, anything that they can run or like start you off with will be invoices by billing state, invoices by billing state for this month, for this year, a zip code, customer name. There's all kinds of stuff that it can like auto create for you or to like get you started. So it just depends on what you're trying to run. Otherwise, you can just simply start by adding columns. Now, what I really like about this custom report builder is I have the option to just start adding my columns. And once I start to add columns to this, it's going to basically gray out options that will not apply to the report. For example, if I'm looking at something that's sales related, so let's say, for example, invoice, I want to add the invoice date. It'll take a second for it to load here, but you'll notice that items that are now grayed out don't apply to me running an invoice, right? I'm running an AR type of report, so estimates and deposits will not show here. That doesn't make any sense. Same thing with expenses or anything else. So it kind of like limits you to the things that it's not going to give you an option to select something and it's going to pull nothing, if that makes sense. So it does kind of limit you to like, hey, this is what you can tie this to, which I think is helpful, especially for myself when I'm not like super well versed in some languages or, like, well, why doesn't a payment show up on a deposit report? Sometimes I think it's helpful. I don't know. But I can kind of check my boxes here as I go along. And the boxes are pretty, there's a lot of options to choose from. So please feel free to use that search column here. So if I just let's just do due date, invoice number, memo, amount. Let's see the discount. So you'll see as I'm checking boxes here, all the stuff is going to load here on the left-hand side as my report example. Lots of stuff you can add here on the columns, but then you've got your layout. So your layout will allow for you to move stuff around. So drag and drop. I want my invoice number first. And then if you have something that you checked and you're like, maybe I don't want it, you can also hide it. So you can use this little eyeball to hide stuff, but you didn't like uncheck the box in case you want to bring it back. And then we have the general tab here. So the only thing that's available here is how do you want your negative numbers to show? So total preference on that one. Cash versus accrual. So that's the customize option. Now we have a bunch of different options too. You've got your filter option. So if you want to filter by invoice number, by amount, by due date, you can do that. You're going to select the operation that you are interested in, is greater than, less than, equal to, is empty, not empty. Select the value. You can add filters, additional filters, which makes it nice. The biggest piece is the grouping, I think. This is where you can start to group stuff. So let's say I want to group by invoice, by due date. Due date makes sense. By year. Due date by year. So then that gives me the ability to create these groups. I only have stuff created in 2023, so that makes sense. And then I could do a subgroup if I want. And then there's an option for group calculations at the bottom if you'd like. So select your column discount amount, calculate for percentage. And so it'll give me the opportunity, if it applies, it'll do it. I don't have any discounts, so there is not going to be a total, but the total will show here if there are discounts available. So there's a percentage group calculations. That's pretty cool. You also have a pivot table. So if you're looking to create rows and columns and then values, you can do that through here. Turn that pivot table on. And then you've got your chart view. Chart view gives you different chart types. So you've got your vertical bars, your trend lines, your stacked bars, all that good stuff. So you'll be able to do that from here. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys really quickly was the spreadsheet sync option, which a lot of people talk about. It does require Excel 365, not the full-blown Excel. It has to be the 365 version or else you're going to have issues. But we purchased a third party that we have now integrated into Advanced, where you can export basically reports to spreadsheet sync. You can utilize the Excel functions in there. You can create multi-entity reporting. So consolidated reporting is available in there. And there's also the ability to like add, edit, and delete in batches in spreadsheet sync. Just because we're running out of time, I don't have the ability to show that one, but I highly recommend checking out the video. I have it on the PowerPoint. So it's a really cool tool. If you think it would be of use, definitely check it out. Does require Office 365, Excel 365, excuse me. So. The other thing I wanted to show really quick was the Workflows tab. In Advanced, Workflows basically is a really cool automation tool that we created inside Advanced. Allows for you guys to do a lot of different things, but essentially, again, we're looking at this from a perspective of saving time. So I want to set up payment reminders, but I don't want to have to automatically do the buttons and the clicks every single time. So I want to set up a reminder. I want to notify about a purchase order updates. I want to send an open estimate reminder to my customers automatically. I want to do, where is it? Multi-condition invoice approval process, multi-condition bill approval process, which is around here somewhere. I don't know where it is. But there's a lot of pre-created workflows that we've set up. Notify about sales receipt, employee onboarding reminder, lots of cool stuff. Purchase order multi-condition approval, that's new. Lots of cool things. You can even create your own workflow based on conditions that you set. You can access the workflow history from here. So you'll be able to see what you've done, estimate approvals, invoice approvals, bill approvals, lots of stuff like that. So we're working on creating items. Again, I have the article available for you guys to check out so you could review at a later time, or ask for a follow-up and make that happen with your out-of-the-box folks. So lots of cool stuff in that perspective. But I know we're running out of time really quickly. I want to show you guys one last thing, tips and tricks. So first things first, just want to remind folks, you can, I should say, absolutely be efficient on the web when working in a cloud environment. If you guys don't know, you can open multiple windows just by simply right-clicking on your tabs at the top and hitting duplicate. You can also open multiple companies by utilizing Chrome profiles or Firefox profiles, Microsoft Edge profiles. You can compare reports side by side. This is actually one screen. I'm comparing those reports side by side, as well as keyboard shortcuts. Super cool. Lots of different things that you can do to be efficient on the web. You have the ability to use multiple windows. Like I mentioned, these little tabs at the top of your web browser, if you right click and hit duplicate, you can duplicate the page that you're currently on and work in multiple tabs / windows as you please. There is no limit to the amount of windows you can have open. You can open multiple companies at the exact same time if needed by simply utilizing Chrome profiles. So you can either create your own personal QBO profiles, don't have to sign into Gmail at all for those, or you can, sign into your personal Gmail, however you want to do it, but you have to have Chrome profiles in order to make it happen. You cannot open more than one company in the same profile instance. And then last, certainly not the least, one of the other tips and tricks I like to let folks know is if you're creating custom reports, did you guys know you could schedule email reports? So there's new access points for customers to set up email schedules for their custom reports. It's going to be at the top of your report when you go to run it. It'll be available in the custom reports, which has been there for forever. And then it's also available in your workflows tab if you have QuickBooks Online Advanced. Lots of different options to choose from, lots of cool tools. I know I kind of blasted through those last few things, but again, you guys will have access to these resources. I do appreciate you spending time with me. Anything I can answer before we wrap up?
There is one question, Leah. Thank you so much. In QBO, can you create invoices with multiple lines from an Excel spreadsheet import?
In QuickBooks Online, you can if you have advanced with the batch transactions feature. Otherwise, it does require a third-party app if you're looking to import from Excel.
Okay, thank you.
Yes and no.
And if anyone has any questions that we didn't get answered during, you can always reach us at hello@outoftheboxtechnology.com. We can get your questions answered.
Any other questions from anybody? Any burning questions to get answered before we wrap up here? All right, well, thank you so much, Leah. Thank you to everybody who attended and for all of your great questions. Again, as Lindsay said, if you have any questions, if you'd like to get a demo of QuickBooks Online, you can reach out through the phone number or the email that you see on your screen now, hello@outoftheboxtechnology.com. Be sure to join us for our next webinar, How to Eliminate Manual Bill Data Entry and Get AP Done 90% Faster, Makers Hub. I know someone had asked a question about the Melio integration and a good platform for AP processing. This is one of our solutions, and that's scheduled for next Tuesday, or not next Tuesday, Tuesday, September 12th at noon Eastern Time. Registration info for that webinar will be included in the follow-up email and is located on our website. Have a great day, everybody, and thank you again.
Thank you.